You ever make a decision with the little trucker instead of the big one? You know, the one south of the border who thinks with his dipstick, not the one wearing the greasy baseball cap. Well, let me tell you, mine's gotten me into more trouble than a state trooper with a quota to fill on the last day of the month. But this one time, it led me straight into a war with 50 of the hairiest, angriest fellas you ever did see. And it all started with a broken-down Harley, a cloud of expensive-smelling smoke, and a woman who looked like she chewed up nails and spit out tetanus shots for fun. All right, so picture this. I'm cannonballing down I-80, smack in the middle of God's own country, Wyoming. The sky is so big it makes you feel small, and the only thing bigger are the stakes. My rig, the Steel Stallion, is purring like a 400-horsepower kitten that just swallowed a whole damn canary. And me? I'm in the damn cockpit of heaven itself. I just left a joint back in Cheyenne called the Grease Pit. And when I say pit, I mean you could have drilled for oil under the grill. The place smelled like 50 years of bacon dreams coming true all at once. The waitress, a gal named Flo, who probably saw the invention of the wheel, called me Sugar, and she served me a work of art. I'm talking a burger that should be illegal in 9 states, a half-pound of hand-pressed beef, so juicy it's practically mooing its last goodbyes. It wasn't just cooked. It was consecrated on a flat-top grill, seasoned by the ghosts of 1,000,000 patties past. Double American cheese melted into a glorious gooey lava flow, so yellow and vibrant it looked like a safety vest you could eat. A whole pig's worth of bacon, fried so crispy it sings opera when you bite it, stacked so high it looked like a little log cabin of pork. A couple of onion rings on top for crunch, and a slathering of some secret, tangy barbecue sauce that had a little kick to it. All of it wrestling for space between a toasted brioche bun that had been slathered in what I can only assume was pure, liquid butter. The grease was running down my arm to my elbow. A beautiful, beautiful sight I wouldn't have wiped off for a winning lottery ticket. I got a full tank of diesel, a belly so full it's straining the button on my jeans, and the endless blacktop stretched out ahead of me. Life, my friends, is good. I was a king in my rolling castle, a monarch of the interstate. Now there's only one thing on God's green earth that can ruin a perfect day for Sam McCarty. One buzzing, obnoxious pestilence that makes my blood boil hotter than a deep fryer on a Friday night fish fry. Bikers. I hate 'em. I despise 'em. Little buzzing gnats on 2 wheels, dressed up like they're auditioning for a Mad Max movie nobody wants to see. They weave through 4 lanes of traffic, like the white lines are just a friendly suggestion, cut you off with a truckload of furniture in the back, without so much as a hand signal, and then have the gall to flip you the bird when you lay on the air horn to let 'em know they're about to be a hood ornament. They're like angry bees with leather fetishes and questionable hygiene. Last year, outside of Flagstaff, one of 'em lost a saddlebag right in front of me. Thing exploded on the asphalt like a cheap suitcase, sending a week's worth of dirty underwear and what looked like a collection of porcelain cats all over the highway. I almost jackknifed trying to avoid a pair of tighty-whities. Ever since then, my hate for them has been a pure, burning flame. Every time I see a pack of 'em, I just grip my wheel, check my insurance, and pray for a sudden biblical downpour. So you can imagine my absolute, unadulterated delight when I see one of 'em on the shoulder. A big, fancy, chrome-covered Harley-Davidson sitting there dead as a doornail. Smoke is poofing out from the engine block in pathetic little gray puffs. I let out a big old belly laugh that shakes the whole cab. "Serves you right, you road varmint," I bellow to nobody but myself, getting my thumb ready to give him a nice, long, celebratory blast from the horn as I pass. A little salt in the wound. You know, a little 18-wheeler schadenfreude. My thumb was literally hovering over the horn button, ready to unleash a symphony of righteous indignation, but then I see who's standing next to the bike. It ain't a him, it's a her. And who, boy, what a magnificent, terrifying her she is. She's tall, lean, and poured into a pair of black leather pants, so tight you could probably read the U.S. Constitution through 'em if you had it folded up in her back pocket. A worn leather jacket, sleeves ripped clean off at the shoulders, showing off arms that were a damn museum of ink. Tattoos snaked up her arms and disappeared, and more ink crawled up her neck, vanishing into a waterfall of jet-black hair pulled back in a messy, don't-give-a-damn ponytail. She was kicking the front tire of the Harley with a steel-toed boot, and the scowl on her face could have curdled a whole tanker truck of fresh Wisconsin milk. She looked like she'd just gotten into an argument with the universe and was about to win. My brain, the one in my skull that's responsible for things like not dying and avoiding obvious danger, is screaming at me. It's flashing red lights and blaring sirens. Drive, you moron. Keep driving. She's trouble. She probably eats truckers for a light snack and uses their bones as toothpicks. It was the same voice that told me not to eat a gas station burrito in Gary, Indiana. I should have listened then, and I should probably listen now. But my other brain, the little general south of the border, well, he's already got his foot on the brake. He's a damn fool, that guy, but he's got a lot of sway in the decision-making process. He stages coups. He's the one who convinced me that a fourth piece of pie was a good idea and that I could definitely pull off wearing a tank top. He's a persuasive, optimistic idiot, and right now he was screaming louder than my common sense. The whole 18-wheeler groans to a halt on the shoulder, air brakes hissing like a nest of pissed-off rattlesnakes. The stallion settles with a sigh, kicking up a cloud of dust. I roll down the passenger window, letting in a blast of hot Wyoming air that smells like hot asphalt and my own lingering burger fumes. Looks like you got yourself a problem there, darling, I say, putting on my best, most charming grin. It's a grin that's gotten me more free slices of apple pie than I can count, and out of at least 2 speeding tickets in Nebraska. I call it the panty dropper, though its success rate on that front is, admittedly, a subject of some debate. She turns her head slow, real slow, like a panther sizing up a particularly plump, slow-moving gazelle. Her eyes are dark, sharp, and framed by enough black eyeliner to paint my whole damn truck. She ain't impressed, not even a little. No kiddin', Captain Obvious. What was your first clue? The bike that ain't movin', the plume of smoke, or the fact I'm about 2 seconds away from setting it on fire and dancing on the ashes. Ouch. Feisty. I like it. It's a challenge. Most women are either charmed or terrified by my sheer size. This one looked like she was calculating the best way to field dress me. Well now, no need to get hasty, I say, leaning my big frame over the passenger seat. A pretty lady like you shouldn't be stranded out here with the coyotes and the tumbleweeds. Need a lift. She gives my rig a once-over, her eyes scanning from the chrome grille to the sleeper cab and back. Then she looks at me. I know what she sees. A big fella, 300 pounds of pure, corn-fed, grade-A American man beef. I'm wearing my favorite faded jeans that are molded to my body, a t-shirt that's seen better days and a few too many ketchup stains, and my trusty, sweat-stained trucker hat. I probably smell like a potent cocktail of diesel, sweat, and freedom. To her, I must look like a giant, talking potato with a driver's license. She squints, her eyes narrowing. "What's the catch, big guy?" "No catch," I say, with an easy shrug. "Just a lonely trucker with an empty passenger seat and a heart of gold, going as far as Salt Lake City." She thinks for a second, her jaw tight. Then she glances back down the long, empty stretch of highway behind her, like she's expecting someone. There's a flicker of something in her eyes. It ain't fear. Not exactly. It's more like urgency, a the clock is ticking kind of look. She makes a decision. She grabs a beat-up leather satchel from the back of her dead bike, slings it over her shoulder, and stalks toward my passenger door with a stride that means business. "Fine," she grunts, yanking the door open. "But if you try anything funny, I will gut you with a dull spoon. It'll be slow." "Honey, the only thing funny about me is my jokes, and even those are questionable." I laugh as she climbs the steps and hauls herself up into the cab. She settles into the seat, the black leather of her pants creaking a beautiful song against the worn fabric of my passenger seat. The cab suddenly feels a whole lot smaller and a whole lot more dangerous. She smells like gasoline, worn leather, and... is that lavender? Weird. A tough biker chick who smells like a grandma's potpourri drawer. She slams the door and the whole truck shakes on its suspension. "Name's Sam," I say, putting the rig in gear and checking my mirrors. "Don't care," she says, staring straight ahead through the windshield, her hands clutching that satchel on her lap like it contained the nuclear launch codes. Okay then. Tough crowd. I merge back onto the highway, the stallion's big diesel engine rumbling as it gets back up to speed. I figure I'll play it cool. Let the silence do the work. Let her get used to the gentle rumble of the engine, the sheer, unadulterated masculine comfort of my mobile palace. It's worked before. Women get lulled by the rhythm of the road. It's like a giant, vibrating cradle. 5 minutes of pure, awkward silence pass. The only sound is the hum of the tires on the asphalt, and my stomach gurgling, happily digesting that glorious cheeseburger. The silence is getting so thick, you could cut it with one of her imaginary dull spoons. I decide to deploy a secret weapon, my extensive knowledge of terrible jokes. So, I try again, unable to help myself. A skeleton walks into a bar. He says to the bartender, "Gimme a beer and a mop." She doesn't even turn her head. Nothing. Not a flicker. "Tough room," I mutter. All right. What do you call a fake noodle? An impasta." This time, she lets out a long, slow sigh, the kind of sound a balloon makes when you let the air out of it really slowly. "Are you done?" "Probably not," I admit. "So what do you do when you're not, you know, threatening to perform amateur surgery on your chauffeurs?" She turns her head and gives me that look again, the one that could freeze hot coffee. "I'm a florist." I blink. I must have heard her wrong. The engine noise, maybe. A florist? Like with flowers? Petunias and stuff?" "Yeah," she says, her voice completely deadpan. "I arrange wreaths for funerals, usually for big nosy guys who ask too many questions." I let out another big belly laugh. I can't help it. This gal's got stones. All right, I get it. You're a mystery wrapped in an enigma, smothered in tight leather and a bad attitude. I can dig it. So, you specialize in lilies? Or is it more of a carnation situation for the recently departed? She just glares. Oh, I'm going to have fun with this. I decide to change the subject, assert my dominance over the cab's atmosphere. This is my kingdom, after all. I flick on the radio. It's already set to my favorite classic rock station. The opening riff of AC/DC's Thunderstruck fills the cab. Perfect drive-in music. The national anthem of the open road. I start tapping my hand on the steering wheel, feeling the vibe. She immediately leans forward, her tattooed arm reaching for the console. She smacks the scan button. The radio starts zipping through the stations. Fast, static, country, talk radio, static, preacher yelling about hellfire. And then she stops. It's a pop station. A song I vaguely recognize starts playing. Some gal singing about a breakup and a guitar. "Whoa there, killer," I say, my good mood deflating like a cheap tire. What happened to Thunderstruck? We're listening to... What in the Sam Hill is this? Is this Taylor Swift? She glares at me, a real dragon lady glare. You got a problem with Taylor Swift? Problem? Nah, I ain't got a problem. Just didn't peg you for a fan. Figured you'd be more into, I don't know, screamin' death metal, or maybe just a recording of bones breaking. I gesture to her whole ensemble. This doesn't exactly scream, "Shake it off." She turns away, looking out the passenger window at the blur of the landscape. Just drive, Potato Man. Potato Man? That's a new one. I'm usually big guy or hey you. I'm not sure if I should be insulted or impressed. So I drive. And we listen to Taylor Swift sing about teardrops on her guitar. The irony is thicker than the gravy at a truck stop buffet. I glance over at my leather-clad, knife-happy, florist-impersonating passenger, and I swear to you, I see her lip trembling just a little bit. She quickly bites it, her tough-as-nails mask snapping back into place. But I saw it, the crack in the armor. This is getting real interesting. I decide to press my advantage. You know, my niece loves this stuff. She's 12, has posters all over her room. We could braid each other's hair later if you want. She shoots me a look so venomous I'm surprised the windshield doesn't crack. But then, the corner of her mouth twitches again, more noticeably this time. Keep it up, and I'll use your beard for a friendship bracelet. Out of habit, I check my rearview mirror. It's a trucker thing. You're always watching your six. And that's when my stomach, so happy and full a minute ago, drops faster than a broken elevator. Way, way back, maybe a mile, maybe more. A group of headlights, small ones, clustered together like angry fireflies. They're moving fast. A hell of a lot faster than the regular four-wheeler traffic. And they're weaving, bobbing through the cars like sharks through a school of fish. "Oh, hell," I mutter under my breath. "What?" She snaps, her head whipping around, the Taylor Swift-induced trance broken. "Don't look now," I say, my hands tightening on the big steering wheel. "But I think your, fellow florists are here to deliver a bouquet." She cranes her neck, leaning to look in the big passenger side mirror. Her face, which was already pale, goes white as a ghost under the tough girl tan. The satchel on her lap. She clutches it like it's a life preserver and we're the Titanic. "Faster," she says, her voice low and tight, all the earlier bravado gone. "You need to go faster. Now. Darlin', this ain't a Ferrari. I'm hauling 20 tons of high-grade toilet paper to the good people of Utah. We ain't exactly built for speed. Top end is 85, and that's downhill with a tailwind and a prayer to St. Christopher. Then find a place to hide, an exit, anything." The headlights are getting closer. I can make them out now. Motorcycles, not one or two, dozens of them. A whole damn swarm of those road rats. And they're not just out for a Sunday cruise. They're on the hunt. And we're the fox. "All right, hang on to your tattoos," I say, my heart starting to pound a rhythm that's a hell of a lot faster than this pop song on the radio. My trucker brain kicks into high gear. I see an exit sign coming up. State Route 220. Unincorporated territory. It's a winding 2-lane blacktop that snakes through the hills. Not ideal for a big rig, but a hell of a lot better than being a sitting duck on the open interstate. I yank the wheel harder than I should. The tires scream in protest as I take the off-ramp way too fast. The massive load of Charmin shifts in the back, and the whole trailer sways like a drunk fella trying to do the cha-cha. My passenger gets thrown against her door, letting out a sharp grunt. "Sorry about that," I yell over the roar of the engine as we fishtail onto the smaller road. She's already recovered, her eyes glued to the mirror, which is now filled with the angry headlights of the biker gang. They're following. Of course they are. The road ahead is dark, twisting through canyons and scrub brush. My headlights cut a lonely yellow path through the absolute blackness. Behind us, the single points of light from the biker gang spread out, fanning across the road, looking like the eyes of a giant, angry, multi-limbed monster. "All right, time for some truth," I say, my voice serious for once. "What's in the bag?" She hesitates, clutching it tighter. "Look, lady," I say, downshifting hard as we head into a sharp, unbanked curve. The engine groans. "Those fellas ain't chasing you because you forgot to return their Tupperware. I'm putting my neck, my career, and my 20-ton stallion on the line here." I think I deserve to know what kind of mess I've gotten myself into. She takes a deep, shaky breath. "It's the club's money." "The club's money?" I repeat, my knuckles white on the wheel. "The Vipers, my old club, it's everything. The treasury, the earnings from the last 6 months of business." I let out a low whistle. "How much business are we talking?" "Enough," she says, her voice barely a whisper. "Enough to disappear, start over, somewhere they'll never ever find me." "And I take it they didn't exactly approve of your unauthorized withdrawal from the company account?" The club president / he's my ex. He wasn't happy. He has a very strict no refunds and no quitting policy. / I repeat the name. It sounds like a sneeze. Sounds like a charming fella. "He collects antique knives," she says, and her hand instinctively goes to the satchel. "And fingers. Oh, fantastic. Absolutely beautiful. I'm playing getaway driver for a woman who stole a duffel bag full of cash from a finger-collecting psychopath named / and his 50 bearded, leather-clad henchmen. And I thought my day peaked with that burger. My life has become a bad action movie, and I'm the comic relief who's about to get killed. The roar of their engines is deafening now. They're right on our tail. I can see them in my mirrors, their faces twisted in rage, illuminated by my taillights. This is bad, real bad. "There's gotta be somewhere we can go," she says, her voice laced with pure panic. The tough girl act is completely gone, shattered. Now she's just a scared woman with a very heavy, very dangerous bag of trouble. My mind is racing, flipping through a mental map of every back road and dirt track in this part of the state. I've been driving these routes for 20 years. There are old logging trails, abandoned way stations, spots where a big rig can disappear into the landscape if the driver knows what he's doing. "I got an idea," I say, a crazy, adrenaline-fueled grin spreading across my face. "It's a little nuts. I'm being chased by 50 bikers who want to turn my kneecaps into ashtrays. I'm ready for crazy," she yells over the engine noise. "All right then, hang on tight." I see what I'm looking for up ahead. It's not even a road, just a dirt track, half swallowed by sagebrush and thyme. An old access road for the power lines that crisscross the hills. I make a split-second decision. I flick off my headlights, plunging us into total terrifying darkness for a second. "What are you doing?" she shrieks, grabbing the dashboard. "Trust me." I wrench the wheel hard to the right. The steel stallion lurches violently off the pavement and onto the dirt. The impact rattles my teeth. Branches as thick as my arms scrape along the side of the cab, with a screech that sounds like a dying dinosaur. The whole truck is bucking like a rodeo bull on meth. My giant thermos of coffee goes flying, exploding against the dashboard and showering everything in lukewarm coffee and plastic shards. Damn it, that was my favorite mug. It had a picture of a wolf on it, howling at the moon. We rumble down the dirt track for a hard quarter-mile, bouncing and lurching deeper and deeper into the wilderness. I find a small clearing, surrounded by thick, dark pines, and I kill the engine. Silence. The sudden, absolute lack of noise is deafening. All I can hear is my own heavy breathing, the ticking of the cooling engine, and the sound of her ragged, shallow breaths next to me. The only light is the pale, silvery glow of the moon filtering through the tall trees, making everything look eerie and strange. Then we hear it. The sound I was praying for, the angry collective roar of dozens of Harleys thundering past on the main road we just left. They don't slow down. They thunder by, a wave of angry noise and fury, and then the sound fades into the distance. They missed us. They blew right by our turnoff in the dark. I let out a breath I didn't even realize I was holding. It comes out as a shaky laugh. I look over at her. In the dim moonlight, I can see the tension draining from her shoulders. She slumps back in the seat, her head hitting the headrest with a soft thud. "You did it," she whispers, her voice filled with disbelief. "Holy crap, you actually did it." "Told ya," I say, feeling pretty damn proud of myself. Smug, even. Old Sam's got a few tricks up his sleeve, besides knowing where all the best diners are. Now how about you tell me your real name? I can't keep calling you killer or florist in my head. She looks at me, a long, searching look. Her eyes are wide in the gloom, and for the first time since she got in my truck, she gives me a real smile. It's a little rusty, like it hasn't been used in a while, but damn, it lights up the whole dark cab. "It's Raven," she says. "Raven," I repeat, nodding. "That fits a hell of a lot better than florist. And thanks, Sam, for, not letting them turn me into roadkill. Don't mention it. The paperwork would have been a nightmare." We sit there in the quiet for a minute. The adrenaline is starting to wear off, replaced by something else. A weird, charged energy. The cab is small. We're sitting close. I can still smell that hint of lavender underneath the gasoline, and leather, and fear. "So," I say, breaking the comfortable silence, "this Slash fella sounds like a real prize." Raven scoffs, a bitter sound. "He's a monster. He thinks owning the club patch means he owns everyone in it. Especially me. When I tried to leave him, to leave the club, he said the only way I'd leave the Vipers was in a pine box." She instinctively pulls up the sleeve of her jacket, the one that's not ripped off. In the moonlight, I can see a nasty-looking scar on her forearm. It's old, but it's ugly and silver, a jagged line that speaks of violence. "He did that," she says quietly, her voice trembling slightly, "with his favorite knife. Because I was laughing with another guy at a bar, said my smile belonged to him. That's when I knew I had to get out for good. Taking the money, that wasn't just for a new start. That was revenge, for this, for everything." I look at the scar, then back at her face. All the hardness, the spiky attitude I saw before, it suddenly makes perfect sense. It's not meanness, it's armor. A wall she built around herself, brick by painful brick, just to survive. "Well," I say, my voice softer than usual, losing its normal booming quality, "he ain't gettin' you, and he sure as hell ain't gettin' that money, not while I'm around." She looks at me, her dark eyes searching my face in the moonlight. "Why?" Why are you doing this? You don't even know me. You could have just kept driving. I shrug, feeling a little heat rise to my cheeks, which is embarrassing for a guy my size. I don't know. Maybe I'm a sucker for a damsel in distress. I'm not a damsel, she says, but there's no bite to it this time. No, I agree, looking her right in the eye. You're not. You're a whole lot more interesting than that. Besides, I add, leaning in just a little closer, the space between us crackling. I kinda like the way your pants creak when you move. That rusty smile comes back, a little wider this time, a little more confident. You're an idiot, you know that. Been told that once or twice. I chuckle, my voice a low rumble, usually right before I do something brilliant. The space between us seems to shrink to nothing. The air gets thick. That little trucker downstairs, the one who got us into this mess, is awake again, and this time he's not just making suggestions. He's banging on the door, demanding attention. The sounds of the wilderness outside, the crickets, the wind in the pines, fade into a dull, distant hum. She's looking at my mouth. I'm looking at hers. So, she whispers, her voice husky and low, that offer you made earlier, about not trying anything funny, is that still on the table? Darling, I whisper back, my heart hammering in my chest. I think the table just caught on fire. And then her mouth is on mine. It's not a soft, gentle Hollywood kiss. It's hungry, desperate. It's a kiss fueled by a high-speed chase, by the relief of escape, and by what I'm guessing has been a long, long time without any real kindness. Her hands are in my hair, gripping tight, pulling me closer. The hard leather of her satchel digs into my leg, but I couldn't care less. My hands, which are usually busy wrestling with a steering wheel or a double cheeseburger, find their way from her shoulders down her strong back, feeling the lean muscles under her tank top. I pull her toward me, trying to get her over the massive center console, which is a cluttered mess of maps, logbooks, and a half-eaten bag of teriyaki beef jerky. Hang on, I grunt, using one arm to sweep the whole damn mess onto the floor with a crash. Gotta clear the landing zone. She laughs, a real, throaty, genuine laugh, and it's the best sound I've heard all damn day. She clambers over the console, landing in my lap with a soft oof. For a tough biker chick, she doesn't weigh much. Or maybe I'm just so full of piss and vinegar I don't even notice. Her fingers are working on the buttons of my flannel shirt, popping them open one by one with surprising speed. I thought all truckers were supposed to be fat and old. She murmurs against my neck, her lips trailing a path of fire down to my collarbone that makes me shiver. Hey, I'm not old, I protest breathlessly. And this ain't fat. It's power, pure, diesel-fueled, American-made power. You're sitting on a monument. She unzips her own jacket, shrugging it off and tossing it somewhere into the darkness of the cab. Underneath, she's wearing a simple black tank top that hugs every single curve. Her tattooed arms are even more impressive up close. A whole tapestry of thorny roses, grinning skulls, and winding, intricate vines. The kissing gets deeper, more intense. Her hands are roaming, exploring the vast expanse of my chest. My hands are doing the same, tracing the ink on her skin. It's a clumsy, frantic, wonderful dance in the confined space of the cab. My knee bumps the steering wheel and hits the horn, letting out a short, pathetic meep into the silent night. We both freeze for a second, eyes wide, and then burst out laughing. Real smooth, Casanova. She teases, her breath warm against my cheek. Hey, I'm just excited. The stallion's not used to this kind of guest. Just then, The CB crackles to life. Ksht. Breaker 19, you got a copy there, Big Sam. What's your 20 on them bears up ahead? It's my buddy, Cletus. Of course it is. Raven buries her face in my neck to stifle a laugh. I grab the mic, trying to sound casual. That's a negative on the bears, Cletus. Road's clear. Just, checking my load. Making sure it's secure. Ksht. 10-4, Big Sam. You sound a little winded there, buddy. You all right? I slam the mic back in its holder. Just peachy, Cletus. The laughter dies down, and the intensity comes roaring back, tenfold. Things are getting serious. Her hands go to my belt buckle, the big silver one shaped like a longhorn skull. My hands are on the zipper of those leather pants that have been driving me crazy since I first laid eyes on them. The sound of that zipper descending is sweeter than any song on the radio. The cab is getting steamy. The windows are fogging up, sealing us in our own private little world. The whole rig starts to rock, a gentle, rhythmic motion. It's a good thing I got top-of-the-line suspension. The Steel Stallion is getting a workout it was never designed for. The shocks were groaning a rhythm that matched our own. We're a tangle of limbs and leather and tattoos and faded denim. It's hot, and it's messy, and it's absolutely, unequivocally glorious. Every grunt, every gasp, is a victory against Slash and his 50 angry morons. We were generating enough heat to cause a localized weather event. And then, a single, blindingly bright beam of light slices through the fogged-up windshield. It's followed by the unmistakable, gut-wrenching sound of a Harley-Davidson engine idling not 20 feet from my front bumper. We both freeze, solid. Every muscle in my body goes rigid. Raven is perched on my lap, her eyes wide with a terror so pure it's painful to look at. Like a deer caught in, well, the headlights of a very, very angry biker. "Oh, hell," I whisper, my voice cracking with disbelief. Company's back. Outside, a low, gravelly voice cuts through the night, a voice that sounds like it's been gargling with broken glass. "I know you're in there, Raven, and I can smell the fat pig you're with from here." Raven scrambles off my lap so fast she nearly falls, frantically pulling her jacket back on. I'm fumbling with my pants, my fingers suddenly feeling like clumsy, useless sausages. My heart is hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird trying to bust out of a cage. "That's him," she whispers, her voice trembling so hard I can barely understand her. "That's Slash." I risk a peek through a clear patch on the windshield that my sleeve just wiped. There he is, a mountain of a man on a chrome and black chopper, sitting there like the Grim Reaper on his hog. He's got a long, graying beard, braided with what looks like metal rings, a leather vest with the Viper's patch on it, and a face that looks like it lost a fight with a bag of hammers and then got run over by a truck. He ain't holding a bouquet. And then, one by one, more headlights appear. They filter through the trees, winking into existence, surrounding us. The clearing is suddenly filled with the low, menacing rumble of 50 engines. We're boxed in, trapped like rats. "He must have seen the dirt tracks from the road," I mutter, my mind racing, trying to calculate angles and escape routes. But all I can think about is that this fella collects fingers, and I'm quite attached to all 10 of mine. They're very useful for gripping steering wheels and burgers. Slash gets off his bike with slow, deliberate menace. He's holding something in his hand. It's long, and it glints in the moonlight. I don't need a closer look to know it's a knife. A big one. "Come on out, Raven," he calls, his voice dangerously calm. "Give me back what's mine, the money, and you, and I'll let your new boyfriend live. Maybe. I might just take a souvenir. A finger for the road." He looks like he's got a few to spare. Raven is shaking, her back pressed against the passenger door. She looks at me, her face a mask of utter despair. "I'm sorry, Sam. I'm so sorry. I got you into this." I look at her, this terrified, brave woman. I look at the bag of money on the floor. I look out the window at Slash and his army of bearded, mouth-breathing goons. And something inside me just snaps. A few minutes ago I was scared, panicked even. Now I'm pissed, royally pissed. Nobody calls me a fat pig. Nobody threatens a woman in my truck. And nobody, and I mean nobody, interrupts Sam McCarty when he's about to punch his damn ticket. A slow, mean grin spreads across my face. Raven sees it and looks at me like I've completely lost my mind. "What?" she asks, her voice a squeak. "Darlin'," I say, my voice a low rumble that feels like it's coming from the engine block itself. "You didn't get me into trouble. You just brought the party right to my front door." I reach down and turn the key. The big 15-liter diesel engine of the Steel Stallion roars to life with a deafening, earth-shaking blast that shakes the entire clearing. The bikers all jump, startled. Slash himself takes a step back, his eyes widening in surprise under his bushy brows. "Put your seatbelt on," I say to Raven, my eyes fixed on the angry mob outside, "and hold on to something." "What are you going to do?" she yells over the engine. "I'm going to teach these fellas some goddamn manners about respecting a man's property." I flick on my headlights, all of them, the high beams, the fog lights, the whole row of roof-mounted running lights. The entire clearing is instantly lit up like a football stadium on game night. The bikers are squinting, throwing their hands up to shield their eyes from the sudden blinding glare. Then I reach up and pull the cord for the air horn. The sound is apocalyptic. It's a blast of pure, compressed air fury that echoes through the hills like the trumpet of a vengeful god. Birds fly out of the trees in a panic. Squirrels for miles around probably just had heart attacks. The bikers flinch like they've been physically struck. "All right, you sons of bitches," I roar, even though they can't possibly hear me over the horn and the engine. "You wanted a war? You got one? Welcome to the Thunderdome." I slam the truck into first gear. The stallion lurches forward with a groan of raw power. Slash has to dive out of the way, tumbling into the dirt like a sack of potatoes, as my massive chrome grille plows right through the middle of his precious custom motorcycle. There's a sickening crunch and shriek of tortured metal. His bike is now a very expensive, very ugly piece of modern art, folded in half. Chrome parts fly everywhere. He lets out a scream of pure, impotent rage. The other bikers just stare for a split second, their jaws on the floor. They've never seen anything like this. This isn't in the biker gang handbook. "Yee-haw!" I scream, channeling every cheesy action movie I've ever seen in a motel room. I swing the rig around, the long trailer cutting a huge, destructive swath through the clearing. A couple of bikers try to get on their bikes to give chase. Bad move. I clip their bikes with the corner of my trailer. A gentle love tap from 40 tons of steel, sending them spinning into the dirt like broken toys. One of them, a big fella with a beard that could hide a family of badgers, tries to jump on the running board of my cab. I just swerve slightly, and a low-hanging pine branch smacks him right off, sending him tumbling into a bush with a surprised yelp. Raven is holding onto the dashboard for dear life, her face a perfect mixture of screaming terror and hysterical laughter. "You're insane." "Insanely brilliant," I correct her, grinning like a madman. They're scattering now, a panicked anthill I just kicked. They're trying to get out of the way of the giant rampaging beast of steel. It's like bowling, but with angrier, hairier pins. I'm not trying to hurt anybody, mind you, just their pride and their ridiculously expensive rides. A nudge here, a tap there. A big rig is a hell of a persuasive tool when you use it right. I see the dirt track, our only way out. It's blocked by 3 bikers, trying to form a a motorcycle wall. Amateurs, I sneer. I aim right for them. I don't slow down. They hold their ground for about 3 seconds before their tiny brains do the math, and their survival instincts kick in. They peel off in opposite directions, diving into the bushes as I thunder past, leaving a cloud of dust and humiliation in my wake. We hit the main road, tires squealing as we get back on the blessed asphalt. I look in the mirror. They're trying to follow, a disorganized, furious and significantly smaller mess of chrome and leather. Slash is on his feet in the clearing, shaking his fist at me, his face purple with rage in my tail lights. I push the stallion to its absolute limit. The engine is screaming, but it's a happy scream. The scream of victory. We're flying down this dark country road, leaving the Vipers and their finger-collecting boss in our dust. We drive for another 10 miles, my foot planted on the floor, before I'm finally sure we've lost them for good. I finally ease off the gas, letting the engine settle back into its comfortable, powerful roar. The adrenaline starts to fade again, leaving me shaky and giddy. The cab is a complete wreck. Coffee stains everywhere, beef jerky on the floor, my favorite wolf mug in 100 pieces. But I don't care. I look over at Raven. She's looking at me with an expression I can't quite read. It's a mix of awe, disbelief, and something else. Something a whole lot warmer and a whole lot better. She reaches over and puts her hand on my arm, her fingers warm on my skin. Sam, nobody's ever done anything like that for me before. Well, I say, my voice a little husky from all the yelling. Nobody's ever called me Captain Obvious and then made me listen to Taylor Swift in my truck before. Guess we're a day of firsts. She laughs, that great throaty laugh that I'm starting to get addicted to. Then she leans over and kisses me. This time, it's not frantic or desperate. It's slow, and it's deep, and it's full of a promise that has nothing to do with danger. It's a kiss that says, "Thank you," and "You're my goddamn hero," and "When we stop this truck, we are finishing what we started, and this time, nobody is interrupting." When she finally pulls back, she reaches for the radio. She finds that pop station again, and what do you know, another Taylor Swift song is on. Something about a love story. She turns it up, and she starts to sing along, quietly at first, then louder, her voice clear and surprisingly good. After a moment of listening to her, a huge grin spreads across my face. I join in. I don't know any of the words, so I just kinda hum and mumble along, my deep, rumbling voice a ridiculous off-key counterpoint to hers. She looks at me, her eyes shining in the dashboard lights, that incredible smile on her face. "You're a terrible singer, Sam McCarty." "Yeah," I say, my heart swelling in my chest. "But I'm a hell of a driver." We drive on through the night, leaving Wyoming and the Vipers far behind us, 2 unlikely partners in crime, singing pop songs in a giant truck that smells like diesel, lavender, and sweet, sweet victory. The bag of money sits on the floor, a promise of a new beginning for her. And for me, I got a full tank, an empty road, and a beautiful, dangerous woman by my side who thinks I'm some kind of hero in a flannel shirt. I see a glow up ahead and pull into the next all-night diner, its big neon sign promising steaks and eggs 24 HRS. I park the steel stallion under the lights, kill the engine, and turn to her in the sudden silence. "Hungry?" I ask. "Starving," she says, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Good," I say, giving her a wink, because after what we just went through, you've earned the second-best damn burger in the American West. And as we walked into that greasy spoon, her hand finding its way into mine, I couldn't help but grin so wide my face hurt. They say romance is dead. Hell, they just ain't looking in the right places. Sometimes you find it on the side of I-80, covered in leather, a bad attitude, and a secret love for pop music. And let me tell you, it's worth every damn mile. This ain't just a haul to Salt Lake City anymore. This is the start of a whole new route, and for the first time in a long time, I had no idea where the hell I was going, and I couldn't have been happier.